Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the next part of our chapter. So, up till now, we have understood what developmental psychology is, and we have kind of understood the introduction. We have also had an understanding of what probably is a better contributing factor, the nature or the nurture. Now, let's look into certain theoretical perspectives wherein these perspectives, these theories have various takes on how human behavior changes across lifespan, right? So when you go through these theoretical perspectives, it will be a little bit of deja vu for all of you because you all have learned these already uh, until these SYBA year. So you have learned about these theories since 11th to first year. So this should be easy and this should be kind of revision for all of you. Right, so this picture over here of this man is very famous in our field, right? We all really like his theories, very interesting ones that he's given, and a lot of groundbreaking work done in his era in the field of psychology. None other than Sigmund Freud, who gave us various theories on dream analysis. Whenever somebody talks about conscious, unconscious, this is the person who comes to our mind, right? So Sigmund Freud, we have been learning about him since 11th standard, if I'm not wrong, and the various theories that he's given. So he was a Viennese physician, and his psychoanalytic theory suggests that unconscious forces determine personality and behavior across the lifespan. So I guess we all remember the iceberg theory that he'd given, wherein he said that the tip of the iceberg is the conscious mind, the middle part is the subconscious, and the larger submerged part in the ocean is the unconscious mind. The conscious mind is the area or the part of the mind that is aware of what is happening around you. So right now that you're listening to the lecture, all the words, all the information is going in your conscious mind. I'm sorry. Then there is the subconscious mind, wherein the thoughts that we say are in the back of the mind, right? So you're listening to my lecture, but in the back of the mind, you're also thinking, okay, you know what, I need to do this work, I have to do this, after the lecture, I'll do this, I'll do that. So that's the subconscious mind, which is not completely in the consciousness, but you can draw information, you can retrieve information whenever you want from the subconscious mind. Then is the unconscious mind, which is the largest part of the mind according to Sigmund Freud, and humans are totally unaware about this part. So whatever wishes, desires that are not accepted by the conscious mind is pushed down into the unconscious. We will discuss in detail about these three, and I would like to also understand how much you remember while our group discussions. So along with this theory, he gave another theory called the id, ego, superego. He said that personality is made out of these three elements, right? The id is basically that part of our personality which is very instinctual, very raw, and it always asks for instant gratification. So it's like if I want an ice cream, I want it just right now. I cannot wait for it. I instantly want to have an ice cream and gratify my hunger or satisfy my hunger. I will come to ego later on, but first let me explain the superego. The superego can be known as the conscience, that is the right and wrong that your mind talks about. For example, eating the ice cream right now is not correct. You have or you cannot eat an ice cream because ice cream is not very healthy for you. That is the superego. It is generally made out of all the morals, all the values that society teaches us, or the parental institution or teaching institution teaches us. Largely the conscience, right? Now, if you understand, the id and the superego are complete opposites of each other. So when the id of our personality and with the superego of our personality starts fighting with each other, tension starts to create. And that is when you start getting anxiety. So basically you are caught up in a struggle of, should I eat an ice cream or should I not eat an ice cream? And then you start feeling an anxiety. To handle this anxiety and to save the scenario, ego steps into the scene. Ego basically runs on what practical or what is the reality principle of the world. So ego is going to try to balance the id and superego. Ego will say, okay, id, right now having an ice cream is not a good idea because probably you're ill. And he also tells the superego, okay, superego, don't worry, right now we will not have an ice cream, but maybe once the body is fine and we become healthy, we can have an ice cream. So ego tries to balance between the id and the superego, so that tension is not created or anxiety is not created, right? Another concept that Sigmund Freud staged was psychosexual stages of development. So Sigmund Freud said that there are 6 stages that every individual goes through, and when that individual passes those stages successfully, it reflects in their personality. These stages begin right from the birth of the child and continue up till the adolescence age. That is, once the child reaches teenage. So it starts from birth, that is 0 months, that's just after say 1 or 2 months, to about 16 years of age, right? So until that time, so Freud says that by 16 years of age, a person's personality is already developed. There is no more development that happens after the 16 years of age. Okay. Then if any one stage during this process is unresolved, that is that individual could not pass that stage successfully, it is known as fixation. Now fixation also has its own reflections in the personality. So if a person say has a fixation on stage 3, that fixation's consequences are seen in the person's personality. Okay. Each stage focuses on gratification or pleasure of a certain body part or function, and all of these stages, if passed successfully, will make a certain kind of personality, will build a certain kind of personality in an individual, right? You can also go through the psychosexual stages over the net. I can also provide you with some notes, or you already have it mentioned in your text. So there are about 6 stages. It starts from oral, anal, and then it finishes off into phallic stage. Okay. In each of these stages, there are certain conflicts that can happen, for which again we will be discussing in detail in our group sessions. Now, with respect to Freud's psychosexual stages, there was another person whose name was Erik Erikson, who is also known as a neo-Freudian, because he took his work on the basis of Freud's stages. So what he said, that he gave an alternative perspective to the psychodynamic perspective that Freud had given. He said that it is not only sexual or psychological and sexual combination that leads to development of an individual. It is the person's society and culture that shapes the person's personality. So he gave a psychosocial theory. So always remember, Erikson was psychosocial, Freud was psychosexual. Because Freud largely depended upon what kind of pleasure was acquired in different stages. But Erikson, he gave us few conflicts in each stage. Those conflicts always revolved around societal understandings, and each person who could successfully pass those stages would build or develop a certain kind of personality, right? So, different from Freud's stages, Erikson said that an individual passes through 8 stages and it emerges in a fixed pattern. It emerges in particular pattern only, and it is throughout the lifetime. Freud said that development stops right at adolescence, but Erikson said that no, development goes on up till throughout your life. So that is from birth to old age. And in every stage, a person has to face a crisis, a this versus this kind of a thing. So when that versus comes, when how well the individual is able to overcome that crisis leads to the development of the personality.